والضغط. We'll talk about the five at the back in the formation, but the three in midfield, Lundstrom, Norwood and Fleck, they're outstanding. They really balance off each other really well. Norwood, to be fair, is someone who controls the game, but the other two, I think playing three in the midfield in a five is really tough, particularly if your wing-backs get pinned back and it becomes a back five. That three covering across can be really tough, but they do it really well. They get on the ball, they support forward to the strikers. Like I said, there's a lot of quality in the team.
Well, we've heard from the manager, we've heard from the owner, and we've heard from the supporters. Coming up next, we're going to be taking a closer look at some of the key players this evening here at Bramall Lane.
Sponsored by Bet365.
The new Subaru Forester self-charging hybrid with automatic pre-collision braking.
There's loads of sports on today.
Lads and everybody, Chris Akabosi.
Oh, placing a knacker on the football? Get a bigger payout on your sports accumulator by hitting the boost button to boost your Aka odds.
So it's an Akaboosty.
Ladbrokes, where the nation plays.
The Kuoni sale is now on.
Happy talk, keep talking happy talk. Talk about things you'd like to do. You gotta have a dream. If you don't have a dream, how you gonna have a dream come true?
Kuoni. Travel worth talking about. At all protected.
What are you doing, Sergey? It's all automated. Ooh.
Huh?
Automated. Automated!
Oh, come on!
Bills with Auto Sergey is all automated.
I automatically look for ways to save on car, home and energy bills.
See, Sergey, just sit back and relax.
Okay.
Automate your bills with Auto Sergey.
In a time like this, a cough can ruin my mission. Fortunately, there's Benylin. Benylin provides fast cough relief from just 15 minutes. Be unshakable with Benylin.
The KFC fill-up lunch for $1.99.
What? The clock? I win. I don't want to see me shining. I win. Pow.
Every day until 3 p.m.
Shining. I win.
Millions are missing out by having a current account that doesn't pay them any interest on their hard-earned money. TSB offers 3% interest to all their Plus account customers for no monthly fee. So if you're one of the millions missing out, talk to TSB. Stop someone missing out on being better off and you'll both now earn £100.
The competition is hotting up. But who will melt under the pressure?
I've got to step up, Jamie.
Yeah, I'm going to try, Sam.
A League of Their Own European road trip continues Thursday at 9 on Sky One. And if you've missed the start of the series, episode 1 of A League of Their Own European road trip is available now on Catch Up TV.
The weekend's Premier League football kicks off tonight with Sheffield United West Ham before Tottenham host league leaders Liverpool. Sky Sports, feel it all.
Sponsored by Bet365.
People in Yorkshire, but it's a hostile environment they hope to create here for West Ham with these two relegation rivals, Michael Tong over the free kick. It's Tonga, it's it! It's brilliant! How priceless could that goal be? And it could be just the lift that Sheffield United need. Support there at Bramall Lane, but the prize within their grasp. Gillespie's corner. Yakiaka time! That's the goal they wanted! It's their captain who's provided it! And Sheffield United are being given a springboard to safety here. Kieran Quiller arriving now. Stead goes alone! And finishes superbly! What a big win this is going to be for Sheffield United. Sheffield United make a resounding case for Premiership safety. A real body blow though to West Ham. Not just beaten, but beaten comprehensively.
Yeah, Sheffield United, comfortable winners in the last Premier League meeting between these two here 13 years ago. It meant there was a 5-point gap over the Hammers with 5 games to play. The Sheffield United fans thought that might be enough, but come the end of the season, a Carlos Tevez-inspired West Ham won their final 4 matches, including away at Old Trafford on the last day, to secure their survival. Sheffield United lost 2-1 to Wigan on the final day. That result saw them relegated, and of course their return to the top flight this season. Jamie Carragher has made his way up to the stands, so we've replaced him like for like. Thank you very much for coming over to join us. Best of luck for this evening. To really have a so kind and so gentlemanly. Well, there you go. That's the kind of behaviour we need more of on Friday Night Football. Look, under Manuel Pellegrini, West Ham had the 4th highest net spend in the Premier League. A large part of the money was spent on Felipe Anderson, and yes, he's had the most assists and most chances created from open play in West Ham this season, but it's not been as spectacular as it was last season. So no. What have you made of him?
Well, I think when he first came in, you just think it's a massive investment for West Ham. It's a different level of signing in terms of the quality. And when I think of a club signing a player like that, I always feel like it has to work. You've got to make it work. There's no way you can sort of just allow him to sort of sit in the stand, and if he's not playing well, put him out of the team. So you've got to try and find a way. And if you look at what David Moyes did with Arnautovic, I know it was mentioned before in his interview, you know, he hasn't given him more of a free role and put him more central to just to inspire him, I think, a little bit, because, like I said, there's no way that West Ham can afford for this one to fail. And he gets his first goal of the season in that game against Bournemouth. He is a huge talent. He falls into that category of being inconsistent, but that's like a lot of forwards. What you want them to do is deliver in moments for you where they can deliver that little bit of quality, only 2 or 3 times in a match, but they can be essentially the game changer and the difference for West Ham. And David Moyes obviously is using him slightly differently, and for West Ham's sake, he'll hope that that'll reward, or bring the reward of obviously the fee that they paid for him.
You were talking earlier on, about Felipe Anderson, about the fact that he maybe played more down the left. It's not what he's doing now, is it?
No, I mean, look at that game there against Bournemouth, and he's absolutely all over the shop. I mean, you could not pin there where he's actually playing. And I think that's what David Moyes has said to him. He said to him, look, I don't want you to play with any restrictions. I want you just to go out there and be free and get on the ball and deliver us essentially the big moments in the match. And great if you can get that licence. I think because of the fee and because of the importance of him to the club, then David Moyes has thought, well, OK, I'm going to get the best out of him. And probably partly why Manuel Pellegrini ultimately loses his job, because of the fact that people like Felipe Anderson weren't delivering for him.
When you were talking about the changing style of football in the Premier League, it's Ollie Norwood, a player who kind of epitomises that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he was a young player when I was at Manchester United. And if you think about West Ham's midfield tonight with Declan Rice and Mark Noble, you'd always seen players like that in central midfield, competitive, really quite aggressive, defensive-minded. You now see Oliver Norwood playing there in the centre of a 3, who can get on the ball, who can dictate the pace of the game. Famously, we saw Pirlo do it for many years, and sort of the game's changed so much. We talked about style changes before, and what it does is it allows these more technical players now to play in roles that historically were Claude Makelele would play, and defensive-minded players. And I think that's been a big change. The game has changed dramatically, and I think we're seeing players now with a lot higher technical calibre on the ball in different positions on the pitch, at centre-back, at full-back, and obviously in that holding midfield role.
Lots made about Sheffield United's overlapping centre-backs. However, their wing-backs have been incredibly productive this season. In fact, they're only behind Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson in terms of goals and assists.
No, and look at that top 2. They're setting a new standard in terms of how to attack as full-backs. They really are incredible to watch. And I have to say, if you see these 2 for Sheffield United tonight, obviously they're slightly different in that obviously Trent Alexander
and having the kind of mobile unit walking the car to the auction block, man, just an amazing feeling. What a way to end this.
What do you do tomorrow?
Go home. Absolutely go home.
Hey, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure getting to know you and your family over the past 6 months or so. Thank you for being with us.
And I thought it was altogether fitting that Sean chose to start the bidding at $3,500, which is what his dad paid for it. Well, the first time that it sold, $3,500.
Sometimes when you buy a car, it changes your life. Now we see a car being sold that has really changed somebody's life.
Well, you know, I think in his situation and his family situation, you could say it changed their lives on both ends.
Yeah.
You know? He's told us before how much his dad loved the sound of that Ford Big Block. And as we mentioned, some interviews with other members of the media.
the next summer to try to make the right decisions for the evolution of the team. We can imagine that in this room probably only 2 persons think that we can win. We are maybe only 2, but we believe. We believe. We have to believe. If you don't believe, you get out, man.
He believes. He's stymied Liverpool before, but this is a different side that he's got there, that he's missing Harry Kane.
Yeah, it is, and the leaking goals as well. That's a big point to say going up against Liverpool.
Because usually he sorts out defences. He's not done at Spurs so far.
Well, that's what we have to look at in the future of what he does going into next season, the players he's going to bring in. Would you say his style's dated? Could you say that? You know, you're talking about a legend as a manager, but a lot of things have changed. I think you have to say Klopp, Guardiola. You put into that as well. I mean, what are they there? They're 30 points. Liverpool are 58 points away. I mean, that's phenomenal. Leave Chelsea 30. It's crazy, really. What Liverpool have actually done. You've got to say. And you can keep asking him, and he's never going to change his mind because you just can't. He's never going to say anything different. You can't say we've won it, even though they possibly have. But you know, he will be game by game, and that's the way he'll go about it. And that's what they're all about. You've got to take your hats off to Liverpool, but Tottenham, can they do something tomorrow? I just think...
he's talking about, you know, he'll have thrown a little line he did in there about Daniel Levy, and if there's a possibility of getting in another striker, you don't go and buy another mega striker in January, do you really?
Well, you've got to try and get somebody. You know, he is out for a long time, but you would have thought you'd maybe need it for backup, and not for backup, or somebody else going to play alongside him or whatever, just in case. I mean, he was injured of parts of last season as well, with big injury. So it's as wonderful as what he is, and he is a wonderful footballer. You know, you have to have a little bit of backup just for situations like this. But going in against Liverpool are just blowing everyone to the side. And I don't think even Mourinho can do anything in this game.
Okay, we shall see. That's the third of our 3 live games tomorrow, kicking off at 8:30 in the evening. The first one will be at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace against Arsenal. That's at 15:30. And the middle game is Manchester United against Norwich. And obviously during that service, Richard and Andy will bring you all the goals as they happen from the other games that are going on at that time, the other 4 games, as well as whatever is going on at Manchester United and Norwich. But this evening we're at Bramall Lane. It's hard to believe that Sheffield United are newly promoted. They're not newly, because they've done half a season in the Premier League, but they have taken the Premier League by storm. Some terrific results, some terrific performances this season, and that's why they're looking up rather than looking down. And as you said, Nick, from a manager who's just signed a new 4-year deal to the end of 2024, but thinking where he's come from as part of his career.
Yeah, looking at Atherton Town, he started off, Halifax Town, Oxford United, Northampton Town, Sheffield United. It's an amazing journey. I love that, mate. You know, and when you listen to him and ask him the question, he said, I just love being in the Premier League, and all those players are the same as well. You go there and you make it difficult, and you get the ball into the box, and you ask questions with a lot of these players. I think you can get a lot of joy in the Premier League. I think we've got so stuck in playing out from the back and doing the right things. I just think some of these teams, for number one, aren't that good at playing out from the back, and they've just taken their edge off that bit of defending. Whereas when I was around, it was the first thing first, clear your lines, defend. And you look at Newcastle today, the mistakes, what they've made, and the amount of times you see that. You go to this ground here, they get the atmosphere going, get stuck into you, get the balls into the box, play good football, and that's what they've got all their joy from. It's not rocket science what they're doing. They're just, you know, you've got to roll your sleeves up and challenge against them, make it difficult.
Well, it's familiarity about this Sheffield United side. It's just the one change from that defeat against Liverpool. David McGoldrick up top there, and Oliver McBurney is the player who comes in for Lys Mousset. And that is the one change. The usual back three, but don't expect to see Chris Basham and Jack O'Connell staying as part of that line. They may end up on the wings at times. For West Ham, there are 3 changes. One of them enforced. Zabaleta coming in for Fredericks at the back. Now this is what we are envisaging, that it could be a back 3. So trying to match up the back 3, Zabaleta comes in for Fredericks. That's one of the changes. Masuaku coming in as well for Niles, and it is Manuel Lanzini in for Robert Snodgrass. So that could be the way we expect West Ham to line up as well. If that is the way that they will try and counteract the way that Sheffield United play their football.
It's going to be pretty congested in midfield, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be
13 players in midfield there, and it's going to be, got to be pretty good on the ball there. But there's Davy Moore. They can just see how happy he is at the moment. You know, 2 managers and staff that will respect each other. This could be an interesting game tonight. Record is not very good for West Ham going in. I think they've only won 1 in the past 13 games throughout the season. So Sheffield United are looking at this as home advantage, and home advantage is massive for them all throughout the season.
That was Phil Jagielka we just saw on the bench, meeting his old manager, a former Everton player, of course, and for much of his career under David Moyes. Okay, eyes down then. Let's get over to Bramall Lane and return to our commentary team. Former Hammer Matt Upson, who's alongside Hammer's supporter, dare I say it, Peter Drury.
Principally, of course, with Manchester City, and in his latter years with West Ham. This the first time his senses will have been assaulted by the greasy Chip Butty song, which cascades down from the Kop here at Bramall Lane. Oh, he's enjoying his second West Ham honeymoon. Wildest honeymoon here. He is 4.5 years old and still ongoing. He will be boss here until at least 2024. So, to rejoin the top 5, to re-escape the bottom 5, Sheffield United, this blast of Premier League fresh air, seeking to prolong the thrill of life in the rarefied air towards the very peak of the mountain. West Ham re-equipped, re-fortified, looking after too many stumbles finally to manoeuvre away if they can from the foothills. And the Blades, as is their wont, looking very early in the game, Matt Upson, to get on the front foot.
Yeah, just the intent straight from the off. Long ball, diagonal, just asking a question of West Ham. Go and win the ball. Can you compete? Are you up for this evening? As the
wide positions. Sure, Anderson will be delighted. He's a lot closer to the centre forward.
There's plenty in there to excite West Ham, who've had their problems at the back and have been far from prolific going forward. Good though to have Aaron Cresswell available again. And he picked up a recent injury, and speaking of which, concern for Jack O'Connell. He slipped on the halfway line a moment ago. Doesn't appear to be moving as easily as he might. Lanzini.
Yeah, it was an awkward one just down in front of us. He came out to try and press the centre forward and slipped. Couldn't really expose it. West Ham. The ball went the other way. Just got himself back in position very gingerly.
I suppose when you have the workload required to get promotion from the Championship, the 46-game season and the rest, and the way that the games come effectively 2-3 every week, To play every minute pretty much in the Premier League is comparatively easy, but it's astonishing the way that Chris Wilder's been able to rely on so many of these players week in, week out, and you include O'Connell within that. He's played every single minute of this Premier League season, along with the two wing-backs, George Baldock and Enda Stevens. McGoldrick to test Balbuena, but the test won't last long because the flag is up on the far side.
It was very tight, and certainly West Ham's central defenders, certainly on this side, Balbuena, he won't want to give it in these positions too often. It's very tight, he's probably just offside, he is. But that is the problem with that system, you can get centre-backs into wide positions, and as we know, this man, along with the wing-back and centre-back on that side, O'Connell, certainly overload those areas.
Lanzini looking to make trouble, and he caused a little bit of uncertainty at the back for Sheffield United. Michael Oliver spotted a push in there and is going to give the free kick to the home side.
He was a little bit lucky, Baldock, there wasn't enough on that header, and that caused the panic there with the goalkeeper, John Egan.
Good lead by O'Connor there, allowing Zabaleta to come onto it. Back Allaire is down, writhing around.
Just catching that, he saw one right on the ankle. He's done well already a couple of times, Allaire. Just holding the ball up, bringing others into play. A really good start at West Ham, get a few goals. They'll find it really difficult. Not easy when you come into a team that's struggling. They certainly hope to be rejuvenated. But David Moyes coming in. An attacking player, Arnautovic. Last time he was here, he certainly had a huge upturn in form. I'll be hoping for the same from him and Anderson.
It is handy when you come in to a struggling side, when your first fixture is at home against a side that's struggling even more than you, and Bournemouth and all the problems they have. Like an accommodating opponent for West Ham to get those 4 goals, allow them to rebuild the confidence which they're going to need every ounce of here. Stevens.
There's the first overlap on the centre-back.
It's one way to stop Sheffield United getting forward, but it has a limited shelf life.
What they did well there, West Ham, even though it was a foul, they actually showed the wing-back Stevens inside, so he couldn't find the centre-back O'Connell.
Flex cross came off Zabaleta, and Sheffield United have the evening's first corner. Hasn't been a particularly rather productive area for Sheffield United, scoring from set pieces, just 3 Premier League goals so far this season. And it comes. Fabianski got decent distance on it. McGoldrick holds off Anderson. That's Allaire. And here's the West Ham skipper Mark Noble. Lanzini, Allaire. Lundstrom, typically combative, coming away with it for the home side. Stevens. Stevens getting the touch from Fleck. Enda Stevens putting it into a great area. Lundstrom couldn't quite arrive in time. Baldock skips beyond Masuaku. McGoldrick's there, but so too Balbuena. That's great work from Basham to keep it alive. Here's Fleck. Sheffield United starting to sense they might be able to make something happen. But Lanzini can clear. As well to pick out Allaire.
It was really good from Sheffield United, and that sums them up this season. Those couple of attacks. As soon as the ball goes forward, they just run forward. There's no thought of what's behind them. See Jack O'Connell go forward there. The wing backs also. Real energy to the play and positivity.
Cresswell. McBurney. Masuaku. Noble. As much as anyone, Mark Noble enjoyed himself against Bournemouth. He won't enjoy the way that he was dispossessed there by McBurney, though.
I think it was interesting West Ham in the cup tie against Gillingham, went to a 3 at the back. Almost feels like it was set up really. I could think from this game to come. And now they were going to go up against Sheffield United. His assistant David Moyes used a lot in his first time round at West Ham. Not nothing he used too often at Everton, but I'm sure he would have had this game in mind. And Gillingham in the cup.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, in the interview with us before the game, he spoke about wanting to have adaptability, flexibility, and be able to play several different systems. It, I suppose, depends which personnel he has available to him. There's McBurney. Fleck felt he was offside, let it run. Stevens did well to get the corner off Zabaleta there. That was cute.
Yeah, brilliant against Sheffield United. As soon as the ball goes forward, they have runners. See how many people they get in the wide position there. There's 4 players. Talk about overloads in these positions. You see, would have been onside there, but certainly Stevens coming around the back there with Zabaleta.
Norwood with the corner. Yes, glanced over by Egan.
Great delivery, just couldn't keep it down. Just gets across. Some of the near post there. There's Balbuena. Very fortunate there, West Ham. Gets in between Declan Rice and Balbuena.
There's so much talk about the attacking centre-halves that Sheffield United have. Surprised perhaps that none of them have managed to open their Premier League accounts yet this season.
Well, as you mentioned before, the record from set pieces is not great. When you think of a team who come up, if they're doing well in the league, certainly playing 3 at the back, so you've got 3 6-foot plus centre-backs. You always think it helps you set piece-wise, defensively and also offensively. So it is a shock really that not being so successful, certainly from corners.
We look at the way that Sheffield United have got their success, and it's not through massively prolific goal scoring. Average only just over a goal a game, 23 in the 21 Premier League games they've played so far. It's the solid defence combined with that that has seen them get to where they are, and a win here will take them up to 5th place in the Premier League above Manchester United.
Keepers down. Problems they've had this season without this man. A major blow for David Moyes and West Ham. He has to go off.
Well, you only need to look at the record that they had, particularly when Roberto was in goal, defensively and indeed in terms of results. It was a real highlight as to how important Lucas Fabianski is and has been to West Ham, and this is a fairly desperate sight because it looks like it's a pretty similar way to the way he injured himself last time.
Looking, signal straight away at the end of his game. He's pulled his quad. Massively disappointing for him. But I can assure you, there'll be a huge fear going through this team. Certainly tonight. David Martin. Well, I don't know, well, young player at Liverpool. One of the scenes of the season, really, how he embraced his dad, Alvin. At Chelsea, he's disappointed. When he conceded 10 goals in 9 Premier League games this season, so it shows the impact he's had on West Ham's season. West Ham are doing really well at the start of the season, challenging European places with him in goal. And the season fell apart without him.
11 games he missed. They lost 8 of them in the Premier League. David Martin eventually brought in to replace Roberto, who was the second choice when Fabianski was initially injured. Roberto now in the wings as David Martin takes centre stage.
Well, as I said, the only consolation for West Ham fans is that this man coming on, not the man you mentioned, who was probably at fault for a lot of those defeats when Fabianski was out.
And he's more familiar with the surrounds than many of his teammates, in that he played here 9 months ago and was still a Millwall player in the Championship in a 1-1 draw. Sheffield United looking to find a way to test him soon after his introduction. Felipe Anderson looking to find Allaire, making a pretty good job of it as well. Allaire beyond one. He lost his footing and it came to the crucial moment.
Well, it's a great ball from Anderson. I think at times tonight they want to be a lot